I'm Tim, welcome to Watch You Want, and thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso Gran'Sport Chronographe Retrograde, 43mm lug-to-lug by 28mm wide. This Reverso Gran'Sport is, like all the watches featured on our YouTube channel, actual inventory in stock and available for immediate purchase and delivery on our retail website, watchyouwant.com. And if you like getting the latest news, views, and reviews of luxury watches in daily video format, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now, the Reverso Gran'Sport, which ran from roughly 1998 to the mid-2000s, represents one of the most underappreciated and outstanding values in luxury high horology. An entirely in-house case, bracelet, and movement, this watch represents the best of a resurgent JLC from the 1990s. On my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, this watch weighs a metric ton. I've got to say that of the solid gold watches with full gold bracelet and clasp that I've encountered, this one, because of the unique multi-part Reverso carriage chassis, just has so much more mass on the wrist. It really feels equivalent to something like a platinum watch. But being only about 43mm lug to lug, it doesn't wear outlandishly large. Now, with the combination of the silvered guilloche dial and the full gold, almost yellow brick road-like bracelet, it's definitely a visual standout, but in terms of fit, flank to flank, it's very compact. Now, what it also is very comfortable. This bracelet, made entirely in-house and bearing the maker's mark of Jaeger-LeCoultre, is incredibly supple on the wrist. You can see it has a completely different profile on the underside, where there are broad spacings between the links and relief channels to make this comfortable. It won't pull hair, it won't pinch skin, and it won't trap heat and moisture during the summer. You can see on the top, it's virtually seamless. It's a beautiful little trick of the eye, seamless on the outside, comfortable and relieved on the inside. Now, the clasp was one of the first examples of JLC's soon-to-be sports watch standard double deployant quadruple trigger clasp. Now, it became famous on the Master Compressor Diving and Master Compressor Diving Navy SEALs models, but it cut its teeth on the Reverso Gran'Sport. Now, the great thing about this clasp is it's incredibly low in profile when closed. Integrated into the bracelet, the only evidence of the parting point are these brushed hoods and the JLC signature at center. Now, twin triggers for 4 total means that it opens with the utmost security. This is not something that's going to pop open like a friction fit clasp, and everything inside, from the beveled swing arms themselves to the high polish interior, bears evidence that it was carefully attended by a craftsman. Now, fully gold, this watch is also fully realized, with every aspect of the case, the bracelet, and the clasp being hand finished and to the highest degree. But an integrated manufacturer is more than just a manufacturer of the case, the bracelet, and the clasp. And in the case of a Reverso, it's what's inside that counts. Now, since its 1931 inception, the Reverso has been the reversible carriage watch. But the distinction that came about in the 1990s was, with the original sports watch intent of the Reverso somewhat eclipsed by modern sports watches, there was no need anymore to shield the crystal by turning the watch and bearing a metal case back to a polo mallet. The bottom line was the Reverso became a platform, a canvas, for a second dial and complications. And starting in 1996, the Reverso became available with a chronograph for the first time. That pioneering limited edition of 500 rose gold chronograph Reversos set the stage for the model you see here, the even more elaborate Reverso Gran'Sport Retrograde chronograph. Now, what you're looking at is the second dial featuring radial seconds with a unique splayed out guilloche pattern. It really does look like the yellow brick road's origin in the center of Munchkin land, if you're sensing a recurring theme here. But the bottom line is, for each circuit, the retrograding 30-minute scale jumps over 1 minute. When it reaches 30, it jumps back. Now, there is a function indicator on the front of the watch. You can see it switches between essentially Marche and Arrete. Those are your French terminology for operation and halt. But the bottom line is that you know whether it's functioning, so you can actually activate it discreetly when the chronograph face is not showing. Continue to look at the civil hours, minutes, and seconds time on the front, fully equipped with a date. You then turn over and reference the chronograph only when you need to. But it also changes the look of the watch. Now, this example is part of the first run of the Gran'Sport chronographs. So it features these dart indices fully loomed around the outer circumference of the dial with Arabic numerals at 9 and 3 and the JL logo at 12. All of the elements, and you can see them well from this angle, are applied, three-dimensional, fitted by hand, and with the utmost precision. There's a great deal of texture on this dial. You can see the entire dial itself has a little bit of a step around its outer circumference near its junction with the case, and then moving inward you see various cutouts from the stepped date window at 6 o'clock to the cutout for the Marche Arrete indicator to the sort of modified hobnail in the center dial, itself surrounded by a modified sort of rectangular train track or minutes track. Turning the watch over, the theme continues with each element of these subdials somewhat sunken within the dial surrounding it, so there's both texture and depth to go along with the chromatic contrast of the dark and light components. A little bit of a splash of color going on here too. These hands, you may not be able to see it on the iPhone, but they are cobalt blue with a little shock of red. And then on the facing side, likewise, kite hands, or sometimes called broadsword hands at center, with little shocks of red to accent that beautiful cobalt blue. Being a sports watch, it does have a little bit more water resistance than a standard Reverso. So 5 ATM versus 3. So you've got a bit more water resistance than the conventional pure dress Reverso. Not a diving watch, but definitely one that can take a dousing if you do get caught out in the rain. Moreover, fully loomed, you can reference both sides at night because both sides, equipped with luminova, not tritium, do in fact glow. Later on, this dial was revised a bit to feature Arabic numerals more prominently. Enthusiasts of the type will go back and forth over which one's preferable, but what's unarguable is that the earlier variant, which only ran for about 4 model years, is a little bit less busy, a little bit less crowded, and the beautiful combination of the applied gold indices with the light-colored luminova on the silvered background is almost tropical in character. This is a great South Beach watch. I always like to call out a watch that really seems suited to our corner of the world here in South Florida, the greater Miami area, and this one really is emblematic of the lifestyle and the ambiance down on the beach. But what's inside counts as much as the skin impression. So what's on the outside is gorgeous, but what's inside is the caliber 859 38 jewel JLC manufacture column wheel chronograph movement. Hard to believe, but prior to the 1990s, JLC had never built an in-house, fully mechanical chronograph movement for a wristwatch. Well, they had a storied history of developing mecha quartz calibers for wristwatches, and long prior to that, pocket watch caliber chronographs, including split-second chronographs. The wristwatch chrono is something that JLC only mastered in the modern era, so what you're looking at is really the dawn of an era. Now, JLC is possibly the most dominant and diverse and prolific manufacturer of high complications, but it started with these complicated Reversos in the 1990s. And if you think about what you're getting, a double-dialed, multi-complication, 38 jewel, entirely in-house manufactured column wheel chronograph in a unique reversible case with a watch featuring, likewise, an immensely beautiful, hefty, and finely finished yellow gold 18-karat bracelet and clasp. There's a lot to love here in terms of sheer beauty, but also engineering intelligence. A beautifully crafted watch. It also has intellectual beauty and appeal to the connoisseur of fine machinery, of fine watchmaking, and haute de gamme engineering. This is a watch to suit many tastes. Granted, it's a watch for the extrovert. It's a watch for a confident owner because wearing this watch, you will be seen and you will be fielding questions about what it is, where you got it, and you're going to have to disappoint quite a few folks when you let them know it is long discontinued. But if all that suits the bill for you, I have a feeling this Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso Gran'Sport Chronographe Retrograde in 18-karat yellow gold just may be the watch you want.